Hi students, hope you are doing well in spite of this pandemic situation. We all will have to fight against this unseen enemy with our full effort from home. Do not go outside, maintain social distancing, use mask, wash your hands, sanitize them and follow the government rules. Stay safe, stay home. Good morning. Today, I'll begin your biology class of class 9 with the chapter The Skeleton, Movement and Locomotion. So let us begin the chapter with the definition of skeletal system. It is the hard framework of body provided with the bones is called skeleton. It gives shape and strength to the body. It also protects the soft inner organs of the body such as heart and lungs. It also helps in movement and locomotion. So the skeletal system plays a very important role in our body. It provides support, it helps us in movement and locomotion, and also it has got some other functions which we will see afterwards. Now the types of skeletons are axial skeleton and appendicular skeleton. The axial skeleton consists of the skull, facial region bones, sense capsules, etc. And the appendicular region consists of the shoulder girdle, bones of forelimbs, pelvic girdle, bones of hind limbs. Human skeleton consists of cartilages and 206 bones and is divided into axial and appendicular part. Now what are cartilages? Cartilages are softer skeletal tissues which mainly protect the joints and are present at the junction of two bones. They actually prevent the friction caused due to the movement of bones at the joints. And bone is the tough connective tissue and is not flexible as the cartilage. Now what are joints? The joints occur wherever two bones meet. The bones are held together by strong tissues called ligaments. Now here we should keep in our mind that while defining joints, we should not write or we should not mention that the joining point of two bones. The meeting point, we should write it. In types of joints, we have immovable joints, movable joints and partially movable joints. Along with bones, muscles also play an important role in movement and locomotion. Then we will come to types of bones. 4 types of bones are there. The long bones which are found in arms and legs, the short bones found in wrist and ankle and vertebral column, flat bones found in skull, ribs, shoulders and hips, and irregular bones where we can see those in vertebrae, lower jaw, etc. Now, let's see the chapter at a glance. So, the parts of human skeleton, it consists of axial skeleton and appendicular skeleton. So, we have already come across that we are having 206 bones, which is divided. See, axial skeleton consists of 80 bones and the appendicular skeleton consists of 126 bones. So, what is this axial skeleton? It actually runs along the axis of the body. And the appendicular skeleton, here the bones are appended or attached with the axial skeleton. Now, if we see the divisions of axial skeleton, we will see that it consists of mainly 3 things: the skull, the vertebral column and the rib cage and the sternum. Now the skull consists of 22 bones which is further divided into cranium, facial region, cranium or the brain box, facial region, sense capsules, the hyoid or the visceral skeleton. The vertebral column, it is divided into 5 regions: the cervical, thoracic, lumbar, sacral, caudal or coccygeal region. And the rib cage has got 12 pairs of ribs with the sternum attached with them at the frontal part or at the anterior part. Then comes the appendicular skeleton. It has got two divisions. The bones of upper extremities, it consists of the pectoral girdle or the shoulder girdle with 4 bones, and bones of forelimbs, which is 60 in number. And bones of lower extremities, that is the pelvic girdle or the hip girdle bones, those are 2 in number, and the bones of hind limbs, they are also 60 in number. Then we will just here have a glance at the functions of our skeleton system. So the first one, we said that it acts as a support system. It provides support to the internal organs, as well as it provides as an framework of our body. Without the skeleton system, our body would have been a mass of simple muscles. Then protection, it protects the internal organs. Movement and locomotion, many muscles pull the bones to produce movement. Locomotion is the coordinated action of muscles on the limb bones, to which they are attached by tendons. Then blood cell formation, this is a very important function of the bones. That is, a red bone marrow in several long bones produces blood corpuscles, and it is termed as hematopoiesis. And storage of minerals, generally the bones store calcium and phosphorus. Then comes, now we will go to in details to this human skeleton system. So the skeleton of an adult human being consists of 206 bones in the form of different types of bones, that is long, short, flat and irregular. The overall human skeleton consists of 2 parts. The axial skeleton, there are 80 bones in this part and forms the upright or the axis of the body. The first part is the skull. It rests on the superior or the upper end of the vertebral column and is the body's most complex bony structure. It is made up of 2 sets of bones, namely the cranial bones and the facial bones. There are 8 cranial bones and 14 facial bones. So cranial bones are the bones which are contained in the cranium or the brain box, and the other 14 bones, they are present in our face, which helps us to move our jaws as well as other coordinated movements. All bones of the skull are firmly united by interlocking joints called sutures. Now there is a large hole at the back side of the cranium through which the spinal cord descends, which is known as the foramen magnum. The next part is vertebral column. Now, before starting with this vertebral column, I'd like to mention that have a clear idea about the spinal cord and the vertebral column. The vertebral column or the spine is made up of 33 small segmental bones known as vertebra, whereas the spinal cord is a continuation of the nervous system. Then the vertebral column or the backbone extends from the base of the skull to the hips. It is also called the spine. The vertebral column consists of 33 irregular bones called vertebrae. Each vertebra is an irregular ring-like bone which has a main body or centrum and a vertebral arch posteriorly. Here, a diagram of a typical vertebra is given. Now, this structure of a typical vertebra consists of mainly 4 parts. The first one is the centrum, the cylindrical body, which one was already mentioned. That is the weight-bearing part of the body. This portion is the centrum. Then the neural arch, a bony structure enclosing the neural canal. This is the neural canal, so this portion is the neural arch. Then the neural spine, the median spinous process from the neural arch. This is the neural spine. So this is the median line at the middle. And the transverse processes, a pair of processes from the side of the centrum. So here we have got the transverse processes. So this describes the structure of a typical vertebra. Then we will see the divisions of the vertebral column. So previously we have seen there are 5 divisions. So cervical means the neck region, thoracic means the chest region, lumbar means the belly region, sacral is the hip region, caudal is the tail region. The cervical portion is having 7 vertebrae, thoracic 12 vertebrae, lumbar 5 vertebrae, sacral 5 vertebrae, and caudal region also consists of 4 vertebrae. Then we will see about the rib cage. There are 12 pairs of ribs in the thoracic cavity. The ribs increase in length from the first to the 7th rib. Each rib articulates posteriorly with its corresponding thoracic vertebra. The first to 7th ribs have a direct attachment with the sternum called the true ribs. The remaining 5 pairs do not attach directly to the sternum, hence are called the false ribs. Out of these, the last 2 pairs are called the floating ribs because their anterior ends are not attached to any structure. They are only posteriorly attached with the vertebral column. Then comes what is sternum. It's a dagger-shaped bone. It forms the floor of the rib cage. It consists of the upper expanded bony part known as manubrium, narrow middle portion called the body, and a cartilaginous lower part known as xiphoid process. Then we will begin with appendicular skeleton. It consists of the bones of free appendages. In human, it consists of 126 bones. Now, previously only we have discussed that appendicular means it's appended with the axial skeleton or it's joined or attached with the axial skeleton. So these are the bones in our free appendages. The pectoral girdle, the first one, the pectoral girdle or the shoulder girdle. This girdle attaches the bones of upper extremities to the axial skeleton. It is made up of 2 bones, the clavicle and the scapula. So we have 2 clavicle and 2 scapula, a total of 4 bones. This is the structure of the scapula and this is the clavicle. Bones of upper limbs or the forelimbs. The forelimbs consist of 30 bones each. So total of 60 bones. Now let's see the division. The bones, the humerus part which is present in the anterior arm bone, it is 1 in number. Radius, which is the posterior arm bone towards the thumb, 1. Ulna 1. Carpals are the wrist bones, 8 in number. Metacarpals are the palm bones, 5 in number. And phalanges, there are 14 bones. So a total of 30 bones we are having in one arm. Then let's go to the pelvic or the hip girdle. This girdle also attaches the bones of lower extremities to the axial skeleton. It consists of 2 bones, namely the coxal bones which are joined medially to the sacrum. Here we can see this is the coccyx portion. So the upper portion is the sacral region. So both these 2 bones are attached with the sacrum region, and these 2 bones are known as the coxal bones, which can be further divided into 3 regions: the ilium, ischium and the pubis. The bones of the lower limbs or the hind limbs, they are also 30 in number, and a total of 60 bones are present in our body. So let's see the division. The first one is the femur or the thigh bone, 1. Patella 1. The tibia, that is the leg bone towards greater toe, 1. Fibula, this is the leg bone, 1. Tarsal, that is the ankle bone, 7. Metatarsal, that is the feet bone, 5. And phalanges, which are the toe bones, they are 14 in number. So a total of 30 bones in one leg. Then we have already come across these 3 types of joints. So these immovable joints are found in skull. It protects the brain. The synovial joints we will read afterwards. And slightly or partially movable joints, they provide limited movement of backbone, allows chest to expand while breathing. So if we notice these two movements minutely, we can see that they are actually partially movable or slightly movable one. They don't move much. So let's see what are synovial joints. The joints in which there is a synovial cavity and bones forming the joint are united by a surrounding articular capsule and accessory ligaments. The synovial joints also contain synovial fluid. Types of synovial joints will come across. You see there are 5 types of joints are there. First one is the hinge joint. These joints can move up and down or backwards and forwards like door hinges, for example, knees and elbow. Ball and socket joints. One of the bones ends in a ball that fits into a hole, that is socket, in the other bone. For example, femur and the upper arm. The pivot joint, it connects the skull and the spine. It allows the head to rotate and also move it upwards and downwards. Then the gliding joints. The wrists and ankles have sliding joints. This allows hand and foot from side to side as well as backwards and forwards. Then the saddle joint. These are the thumb joint. It is an imperfect ball and socket joint in which one bone is movable and the other is fixed bone in many directions. So muscle and movement. This is the last topic, as because we have come across also that the muscles too help us for moving our body parts. Now the muscles which moves the body are known as voluntary or the skeletal muscles. They are at our control and attached to both ends of our bones. Muscles work in pairs. They work opposite to each other. When one relaxes, the other contracts. Such a pair of muscles are called antagonistic muscles. Now one example we can cite here, the bicep and the tricep. When the bicep muscles are working, they contract, and the tricep muscles get relaxed, and vice versa. So this is all up for today. That's all. Thank you.